Hello dear students and welcome to our virtual English classes. My name is Emma Matreniuc and I'm an English language teacher. And today we are going to discuss an extremely interesting topic: young generation in modern society. Isn't it challenging? Of course it is. Okay, look at this picture please. Do you recognize here someone? Maybe a politician, a musician, a band. Maybe you see here familiar faces of someone who've seen on TV or in internet. Now look at this picture. Maybe you recognize here someone or even yourself. Do you often do this? Or maybe here. So, as you understand, today in class we will learn the new notions, we will find out the definition of new terms, we will observe the differences between the notions, we will get the new vocabulary and try to understand the importance of each generation. Okay, look at this picture again, please. The first word that you see is millennials. But we also see here Generation Y, teenagers, inspire, modern technologies, demographic, boomers, symbols, culture, and many other words. And of course, they are tightly connected with our today's discussion. Here you see pictures and names of 5 generations that make up our society today. Look at them. They are builders, baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z. Okay, so do you identify yourself with one of these groups? And maybe you can identify the other people whom you know with one of these groups too. Look at these representative pictures. They are all different, but they are all talking to us about some of the generations. Baby boomers, the people who are very hardworking, resourceful, work-centric, and competitive. These are the people who loved TV and radio and telephone. Generation Y is the generation who is very, very interracial. They love world events. They like to discuss political issues, and they like media, but they're very innovative too. Generation X, look at these pictures. Do you recognize the famous faces, at least a footballer player? They are very individualistic, and they are flexible at the same time. The other generations, who loved and maybe still love MTV, music, and different movies. Of course, we have these people all around the world and around us as well. So here you see again the picture of our generations groups, but we also have Generation Alpha at the end. So this is one of the challenging issues too. Okay, so Generation Z, welcome to a little bit of information about you. So Generation Z is a generation that was born using the internet and grew up with all the conveniences of modern technology and social media, from the iPhone to Netflix to Instagram. And as a result, they're whip smart, quick and savvy. They are the most confident, socially aware and entrepreneurial generation of our time. And these are the famous words of a Jason Nazar, founder, CEO of Comparably Patience. So look at these pictures, probably you recognize yourself, don't you? Now let's read a little bit about some peculiarities and characteristics of this generation and try to insert the words in these sentences. And our words are conveniences, aging, savvy, roughly, ubiquitous, and mortgage. So let's continue with the sentences. If you describe something or someone as ubiquitous, You mean that they seem to be everywhere. And the word is ubiquitous. Number 2, population aging is a demographic phenomenon which involves the rise in the median age of a country or region. And the word is aging. Roughly 1 in 5 minutes, 19% of all digital media time is spent on social sites or in social media apps. The word is roughly. Number 4, a mortgage is a type of loan when often used to buy a home or other property. The word is mortgage. 5, if you describe someone as savvy, you think that they show a lot of practical knowledge, and the word is savvy. Number 6, they wouldn't like to live without modern conveniences such as microwaves, and the word is conveniences. Now you have enriched your vocabulary in several words. Now look at this picture. Here we have the pictures of some food, maybe an animated cartoon hero, and some other devices. Have you any idea what could be common between the concepts suggested by these 4 pictures? And the answer is that these are the other divisions of the generations. Look at them, please. It's sandwich generation, it's Peter Pan generation, it's boomerang generation, and digital natives. And these groups are influenced by the economic, social trends, and technology that produce changes in the attitudes and social behavior over the time upon us, human beings. Now, let's look if we can match these generations to their definitions. So, the first one, generation of people who grew up in the era of ubiquitous technology, including computers and the internet. And it is, yes, digital natives. The next one is a group of middle-aged adults who care for both their aging parents and their own children. And this is sandwich generation, you are right. The next one, young adults graduating high school, college, and choosing to share a home with their parents after previously living on their own, is boomerang generation. And the last one, a sizable group of 25 to 40-year-old who are avoiding the responsibility of marriage, mortgage, children for as long as possible. And this is Peter Pan generation. So now you see more generations, more divisions. Okay, now here you see a survey made in 2020. More than 74% of Generation Z says they spend their free time online, and 66% of Generation Z reports using more than one internet-connected device at a time. Think about this attentively. Do you recognize yourself in one of these circles? How do teenagers spend their time online? They text and chat for about 73%. They do schoolwork, about 36%. Then about 28% learn new things. 17% shop and browse. 58% play games. And 59% access entertainment. Do you text? Do you chat? Do you learn new things? Do you shop? Do you play games or have entertainment online? So let's see how we can answer and guess the words. Let's use the information from this chart and let's complete this text and sentences with the words. And the words you see in the right upper row. In the United Kingdom, Generation Z spends an average of 10 and 6 hours online each day. Next, 75% of Generation Z most frequently uses a smartphone over computers and other devices. The next, most Generation Zers, 73%, use their internet-connected device to text or chat with friends or family. The next, meanwhile, 59% and 58% also use them for entertainment and gaming respectively. The next, roughly 71% of Generation Z teens use mobile devices to watch videos, while 36% use mobile for doing homework. You see attentively and think about your own life and in which category you are now. Okay, now we have another portion of questions. Before we read the text, we look at the questions and try to concentrate upon them while we read the text. And the questions are: what are the negative influences of media on teenagers? What unhealthy behavior can media generate? And when does media become an educational tool? Media influence on teenagers. Media influences do play a part in shaping teenage behavior. When your child is aware of media influence, he or she will be able to handle media pressure better. It's normal to be worried about the influence of media on your child. Media influence on teenagers can be deliberate. For example, media advertising is often directed at children and teenagers. This means that children and teenagers are increasingly conscious of brands and images. Media influence can also be more indirect. An example of this might be the promotion of body image content in advertising, magazines, television shows, and music videos. These media products often show women with unrealistic body types and perfect appearances. Other kinds of media feature violent imagery and coarse language, for example, video games and song lyrics. These indirect media influences can suggest to teenagers that these are normal, so to say, ways to look and behave. But being exposed to media influence, images, and messages doesn't automatically mean that your child is at risk. Teenagers don't just take on board everything the media or anybody else tells them. There are some links between media content and negative teenage behavior. Media influences body image. A child's body image is influenced by many factors. These factors include family environment, ability or disability, peer attitudes, the fashion industry, cultural background, and mainstream media, social media, and advertising. By the way, the information in this text is indeed very serious, so let's be aware of all the things that we have read. So, the next portion, it's about social media as well. If teenagers see unrealistic thin or muscly body types often enough, their body image and dieting behavior may be greatly influenced. Body image ideas in the media have increased teenagers' desire for plastic surgery. Media may also have a positive influence on teenagers' behavior. For example, teenagers who are exposed to and take an interest in the news are more likely to be interested in major social and political issues. This can help educate them and encourage them to become more involved as citizens in their communities. Teenagers can also pick up important health promotion messages from the media. For example, messages aimed at preventing youth depression and suicide, encouraging healthy eating and lifestyle habits. Exposure to media is a part of modern life, but it's important to educate the child, work out what's worth paying attention to. The best way to help a child handle media influences is to talk about the messages. Communication is the key to success. Monitoring a child's media choice doesn't mean banning him from watching or playing, just getting him to be more aware of the messages he's taking in. Okay, now we read the text and we need to answer the following questions. What are the negative influences of media on teenagers? And the answer is, the negative influences of media on teenagers are wrong media image and diet behavior. Number 2, what unhealthy behavior can media generate? Look at these pictures. They can also be of help. And the answer is, media can generate unhealthy behavior like smoking, drinking alcohol, taking drugs, aggressions, and violence. Number 3, when does media become an educational tool? And the answer is, media becomes an educational tool when teens become more aware of the messages media is promoting. So, we have another portion of questions. Look at these pictures. Think about the information that you have found out. And the questions are: how does the media portray people of your age? And what, in your opinion, do they get wrong? Think attentively about this question and try to answer to yourself. Number 2, what do you think adults and the media most need to know about people of your age, about your generation? Look at this picture and it might help you to understand and to answer this question and to be ready to discuss. Next question. What can older people learn from your generation? Probably a lot of things. Okay, now have a look again at this picture and let's recall those generations that we have discussed a little bit earlier. We talked about Generation Z, about Generation Y, Generation X, about baby boomers, and about veterans. So, look at all these types and think about all these people that are around you and that we communicate with them in a peaceful mode. So far for today, dear students. Hope you found a lot of new and important information and you are ready to live in a peaceful world and respect for all the generations. See you next time.